Hello, everybody. It's okay. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for invitation. Well, I hope not to bore you because I think you will have to be with me 1.5 hours. I don't know. I have a long program, but we can make it shorter if you get sleep. So we begin with 3 matters. One is transhumance in Spain and other countries. Then transhumance as UNESCO intangible cultural heritage. And then last, I will explain what is the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists. So let's begin with transhumance in Spain. Well, I will make a little bit I will speak about a little bit about Mediterranean countries and why in the Mediterranean countries transhumance is so long and so famous. So you know that we had during the glaciations, the Mediterranean area, as you can see, was the area where glaciation did not arrive. So when then the ice went back from the Mediterranean area, all the plants would recuperate. So that's the reason why in the Mediterranean we have more plants than more biodiversity than in the rest of Europe. So here, in this picture, you can see how in the whole Mediterranean you have mountains. Yeah. So what is transhumance? Transhumance is when the animals go from one place to another. So since before humans existed, in the Neolithic, we had wild animals, prehistoric animals, who already were doing transhumance, yes? And the humans, when they began to domesticate animals, they would follow the paths that it wasn't the former one, the path that would do the wild animals, yeah? From the Mediterranean area that in summer is very hot and very dry to the next, yeah? So what were these Neolithic people make for the meseta, for example, in Spain, no, for the long plains? They would put these megalithic, yeah? And you have them in France, you have them in Portugal, you have them in Italy, you have them in Spain, so, as you can see in the pictures. So during the Roman Empire, yeah, up to the 4th century, the livestock routes that the proto-Romans would use were called tractoria, and that would give the Italian name tratturi. Yeah, to the transhumance paths. So in the Codex of Theodosio, already the shepherds had the privilege of free use of transhumance routes. Yeah. So in Spain, almost 88% of the country, which is almost 50 million of hectares, is of 50, yeah, of kilometers, square kilometers. Sorry, 88% is usable as for grazing. Yeah. In Spain, there is a high biodiversity with more than 1 million of species, and 30% are endemic. Yeah. So the main strategy for the climate is to have mobile pastoralism. So what kind of pastoralism do we have? We can have human ones, no, human source, that is woody crops or herbaceous crops. the natural sources, that is grassland and woody vegetation. So here you have a broad map of Spain, and you can observe that the mountains, here you have the green one are here you have the mountains, and the rivers are crossing like this, yeah? In the next map you can see it better. And you have different kind of pastoralism. So in the Pyrenees you have mainly sheep and goat. In the Mediterranean mountains you have sheep and goat. In the center, that's where cereals are. You know that Spain is an altiplano, no? With some mountains. And here, that's very important, there is fire prevention pastoralism, I will tell later. So the transhumans are going from south to north. And in Spain, and this is a very interesting map, all these long droves are droves who are long between 200 and 1,200 kilometers. And in Spain we have 125 kilometers of droves which are protected since 1273. The King Alphonse the 10th, the sage, protected them, yeah, already. And in 1995, this law has been renewed. So still in Spain, I didn't touch. Still in Spain, we have these protected droves. What you can see are the Cañadas Reales, which are 75 meters wide and between 200 and 1,200 kilometers long. Yeah. Then you have a smaller one and even smaller one of 20 meters or 37.5 meters. So no, sorry. So, on the picture of the left, you can see a typical dehesa. Dehesa is a kind of pasture with trees. It has more trees than about 1,800 trees. And for the EU, it was not considered pasture because it has more trees than, for instance, here in this country. No? So transhumance is going from the lowlands to the higher lands. In Spain we have a lot of indigenous breeds, 46 cattle, 51 sheep, 22 goats, 21 horses, and 8 of donkeys. Here you can see a herd of vacas bravas. These are the cows of the bulls that are used for the corrida. So it's really very hard to bring them to transhumance. Yeah. Well, 80% of the local breed are at the risk of extinction. Here you have some typical transhuming breeds. That is most known by everybody. It's the merino sheep. You know that the merino was very protected and so on. I can tell long about it. The big richness of Spain was, of course, the merino up when Napoleon stole it, brought it out, and now the most merino wool comes from Australia, no, and New Zealand. Then we have here some horses, some donkey. I do not agree that the donkey is always easier to have than a horse. Depends on the on the kind of donkey. Well, here we have transhuming in the Mediterranean. We have also not only you have a Hungarian local breed here, and the dromedary. And very, very important in Spain is the Spanish protection dog that's called mastín. So in Spain, a lot of pastoralists and transhumans do cheese. Here you have some example in Canary Island, traditional sheep cheese made in caves. Yeah, really very delicious one. So, which are the main challenges of transhumance in Spain? that I think that's something everywhere in the world, that the pastoralists do not enjoy high social status. And another problem is there is no census on the number of pastoralists, nor in Spain, but nowhere in the world. But with this I will talk later. The number of herders is declining. The land is abandoned. And extensive livestock rising gives way to the intensification, and that is a problem, I think, almost everywhere. And then one of the major obstacles is the restriction on the multiple use of land. And somebody before also told of the restriction in natural parks, no? So the European Green Deal and its farm-to-fork strategy by unchance supports the intensification and does not support extensive pastoralism. And there is also, in terms of aid per hectare, what the farmers receive in Europe are quite different between the different countries, yeah? So the strength on the other side of transhumance is that the national parks in Spain, it is permitted to almost graze in them, you know, what is not the case in other countries. And since 1995, as I told before, the law protecting mobile pastoralism droves came into force, a renewed one, and it's for the moment the only law. I can give it to you in French or in English if you want, as base if you want to use it in your country. So grazing combats the threat of habitat and biodiversity that I think we heard quite a lot, and there are lots of horses and cows who eliminate unwanted vegetation. That was what you were telling before, and of course, a big problem in Spain is fire prevention. Yeah. So there is a network of Andalusian grassland fire breaks area, yeah. And there is another thing very interesting in Spain, the red eléctrica, so the electrical lines, you know, under the big high tension, it needs to be clean. And Red Eléctrica is using pastoralists and paying them for that. And that's something that can be very interesting to be spread around. So many, here you can see transhumance made in the western part of Spain. You see how dry it is. This should be a lake, what you see in the picture under it. This is a fiesta that is in Zamora each year in between 9 and 10th of September. You have a flock of about 5,000 sheep who belong to 5 or 6 families, and they hire 2 shepherds who bring them for transhumance for some months. And when they come back, there is this big fiesta with the religion, and it's really something very interesting. In Canary Island, the transhumance is really very respected. It's they go around the mountain. They go around the mountain and they stay 3 months, 3 months, 3 months in 4 different houses. Here you have the last 12 families who still are doing transhumance and make this wonderful cheese. And last year there was a homage. You say homage to the transhumant, so something that they were prized for what they do. So slowly transhumant begin to be recognized. And always in Canary Island there is this project, Gran Canaria Mosaico, where the prescribed burning, mechanical clearing, and pastoralism are used for fire prevention, and the grazing is paid. Yeah. So here on the left, you can see in the upper part a shepherd who is paid for grazing as fire prevention, and down you have the pioneers of mobile cheese making. Yeah. So as he has to move, he has to make his cheese while transhuming. Here you have a picture of transhumance of these brave cows used for corrida. You can imagine that it's really not easy, and the shepherds are on horse. Yeah. So now I will just show you the transhumance in different other countries. For example, in Italy. Italy, as you have seen in the map before, since before the Romans, so there are rests of 7,000 years of transhumance. Here you have a Roman city where nowadays still you see the transhuming sheep crossing the forum. This is the last transhuming family. Since more than 300 years, they are transhuming traditionally and making a very special cheese. They make it by hand, like they did it 300 years ago, called caciocavallo. It's called caciocavallo. It's two cheeses with a cord. You can see it has a cord. Because cavallo means horse, because when there were no fridge for transport, they would put them on the horse for transport. So here you see this family. They make a transhumance of 185 kilometers, but the first 42 kilometers have been asphalted. So they have to run with their cows for 42 kilometers without drinking, without eating, and with very restricted. In Italy, the ali tratturi are wide 110 kilometers, but the law does not protect them anymore since 1860. So transhumance traditionally goes through cities and villages. Here you see it through the city of Bergamo. In south of Italy, in Sicily, in the place you can see on the map, there is a national park that's called Parco dei Nebrodi, and there is a very special transhumance that has been recuperated some 10 years ago. It's a transhumance of donkeys, of local donkeys. And these donkeys are called the donkeys that recuperated the soil from the mafia. Mafia had not allowed to make this transhumance anymore, but they were having the money from the CAP, from the Common Agricultural Policy, and a very brave major of Troina, he recuperated these over 4,000 hectares and reinitiated an old traditional transhumance with his more than 100 local breed donkey and local breed horses. So you see them here. This is a bridge of the period of the Normanni, who were in Sicily of the 12th century. In Albania, that's a small country, but it has a very important transhumance between 300 and 600 kilometers, so between 7 and 10 days. In Germany, normally, like here, it's not so necessary to have a transhumance because you have enough rain. It's not like southern countries. And Merino arrived to Germany in 1785. Of course, all countries would have liked to have merino because at that time the wool was very, very expensive. And they made a local merino like you have also here in Czech, as I've seen. So here you can appreciate one of the last transhuming. I think some of you know him. It's Günther Xerxes with his sheep along the Rhine. Here, this is what I tell the other countries about your Redig of the Carpats, of which you know much more than myself. Luxembourg is a country where transhumance was not existing. It's not older than 15 years, but it's very, very important because the transhumant flock, this is a Luxembourgish lady with her husband, they walk under the buildings of the EU, where the people are taking decisions. So it's very important that they get aware about the importance of transhumance. Yeah. So then you have some pictures of Hungary. I think we heard about this morning very interestingly. In Hungary, you have even transhumance by boat, as you can appreciate. And here the dresses we had the pleasure to see this morning, thanks to Iboya. So in France, transhumance exists only in the mountains, in the places that you can see, and it's being now recuperated. They have a festival, very important festival, every autumn in Grenoble, in which they show pastoralist films. So if you have any important pastoralist film, please let know, because it can be brought to this festival. A couple of years ago, huh? You want a picture? Yeah, take it. Yeah. Your film, but your film can be showed there, and also in another festival that's very famous in Latin America, but it has to be translated to Spanish. It's in Argentina, the 24th or 25th of May of each year, around 20 between. It's Pasto America. I can put you in contact but the film has to be at least subtitled or in Spanish. And the same for France. It needs to have to be translated to French. Yeah, but it's possible to show them, of course. Yeah. I give you the contact. So in March 2022, in occasion of the International Agriculture Fair of Paris, this shepherd brought from the Pyrenees. He brought some 40 sheep, and imitating what is done in Madrid, that I will show you later. We walked through the Champs-Élysées, as you can see. And we were working, here you can see me with a FAO representative and 2 colleagues, and the Mongolian, from the Mongolian embassy to create this steering committee for the nomination of transhumans. So, and here you have the Spaniards who came dressed as from north of Spain, and also crossed the city. That was something very interesting. So in Turkey, transhumans and nomads still exist, but they have all the difficulties that you can imagine, because the government doesn't absolutely not help them. And here you see some paths, some long paths, and they built dams and autobahns, and the poor nomads and transhumans have big difficulties. So here you can see how they live. They make excellent cheese. And transhumance exists also between countries. So the mountains historically have not been barriers, but have been something to unite people. Here concretely, you see the oldest peace treaty that is still in force. Here you see the French and the Spaniards who put one hand on the other, and then the mayor of, why does it go on? The mayor of Spain says, and peace be. Yeah, so it's the French who but on the French side, the Pyrenees are much more steeper than on the Spanish. So the French are going to Spain for grazing, and they have to give 3 cows. Therefore, it's the tribute of the 3 cows. Yeah. But there were a lot, as you can see, all these, what you can see here, all these were transhumances between the two countries. The same happens in Italy. Between Italy and Austria, you have a very old, more than 6,000-year-old, transhumance between Austria. Well, where does it go? Austria and Italy, and they cross. How do you say? A pass that is 3,019 meter high. So as you can see, they have to walk very, very steep. So it's not very long. It's only 19 kilometers, but it's 1,365 meters difference. Yeah, you see them. They have to walk on the glacier. Yeah, they cross the glacier, and they do this every year. And all the shepherds are very, very proud to do that. Yeah. So then you have transhumance and nomadism in Africa. You know that we have created frontiers, but shepherds never knew about frontiers. So they made in 1975, because you know that in Africa they very often they kill when they come into another country, so it's really very dangerous. They made a treaty between 16 countries with a certificate, but it has not been used very much. There is a very important transhumance in Mali on the Niger River, where you see the shepherds paint their cows and animals and dress themselves with the most beautiful dresses. The date of this transhumance depends on the river and on the climate. So each year it can change. It's normally on a Saturday because that's the holy day for them. Yeah. So, for instance, between Afghanistan and Pakistan, you also have the Kochi. Kochi is a population with their camels, but now Pakistan has made 2,640 kilometers long, how you say, so that you cannot pass? Fence, thank you. And so they are not able to cross anymore, and that's a big, big problem. In India, you have almost 13 million of shepherds, but of all kind of animals: cows, buffaloes, sheep, yak, horses, and even I don't remember, ducks. Yeah. Here you see the areas, and there's a big problem in Ladakh. You have heard probably of Ladakh and of the Pashmina, sheep. But now with the climate change, you see where they graze. So it's really a big problem. And tourism is also a problem because many tourists are going now to Ladakh and use too much water and create a lot of waste. So here I can show you with what a pleasure the camel eats this really plant that is, look, with what a pleasure. So speaking about desert, these animals are camels are really very important for desert, for stopping desert. That's what we were talking yesterday with the person. And in India you have the Raika. This man is a Raika. Yeah, the men have a red head. Who are those who were making the caravans of camels. Nowadays, transport is not done by caravans anymore, but they have a really an incredible culture of protection. So, yeah. So, a German veterinarian, Ilse Köhler, she is almost 30 years that she's living there in India, and is recuperating the dignity of these Raikas. and that they still are useful. And therefore, the milk of the camels is really a very, very healthy. I don't know if you heard about that. Almost like, how you say, donkey milk also. So as it has high therapeutic value for autism, diabetes, and many other things, but especially for children, autistic children, it's incredibly good. So they create this camel diary, and they dry part of this milk, so to be sold away. And of course, they give it to Indian children who have health problem for free. In Latin America, you have the ants. So transhumance has been done since also more than 6,000 years. Here you have the alpacas and the vicuñas. And in Argentina, we have long distance transhumance. They do 1 month of transhumance. Here you can see some pictures. And here is the festival, the cinema festival in Mendoza I was talking before. And there came, it's a wonderful film, but for the moment it's in English and in Spanish. It's a film on a transhumant from Spain and a transhumant from Argentina who meet each other and who visit each other, and you see what is in common in Latin America and in Europe, and what, of course, is also specific of the country. It's a very nice film. Now I will talk a little about the Declaration of Transhumance World Heritage, UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage. So it took very many years to reach the first declaration. In the years 90, in Germany and in Spain, without knowing each other, were created in Germany Liga for Pastoral People, in Spain Consejo de la Mesta, and the end of the century was the first EU life project on transhumance. So in Madrid, 1994 was the first time that again a flock of 1,800 sheep and 200 goats crossed the city of Madrid. At that time, there were more than 500,000 people looking at it. In the meanwhile, it's almost 2 million of people who are looking at that. We do that and it's the foundation I work for since many years. And we organize it normally the third Sunday of October. This year it will be the 25th of October. That means the fourth Sunday. Yeah, but normally it's the third. If you want to come, it's really something very, very interesting to see. So in 1995, thanks to this first coming again through the city, again, the law has been renewed, the law of the 1273. And 2003, sorry, it's 2003, yeah, WAMIP, World Alliance of Mobile Indigenous People, it was 2007, there's a mistake. There has been the first world meeting of nomadic and transhumant shepherds in Madrid, and it was in occasion of the crossing of Madrid, a transhuming flock. As you can see here, you have Maasai together with nomads from many other countries. So 2008 met the first group of countries to declare transhumance UNESCO World Heritage. In 2013, Spain made a white paper. Then 2015, I think some of you were probably present, there was the European Shepherd Network and the Declaration of Koblenz. And in March 2018 was the first presentation of the documents, and it was declared 2019. In 2013 there was also this meeting of the shepherds after the Reddick in Brussels, but it was too early. It was too early. Nobody made, in Luxembourg. Here they are in the Justice Palace of Luxembourg. You see the German and the Polish together. So in 2019, the 11th December, the first time was declared transhumance intangible cultural heritage, only for 3 countries, Austria, Greece and Italy. And 2023, there were 10 countries, and now, including Bulgaria, Slovakia, Poland, Serbia, Turkey and Ukraine, we have presented the 3rd nomination file that should be declared now in December 2026. So, as you can see, the enlargement in a couple of years, it has had a encouraging and multiplying effect. As you were, some of you were telling, it's a big difference between 2013 and now. No, so the nomination is not a goal; it is a beginning. So all the coordination between university, research institutes, associations, schools, and so on, all this capital, this big human capital, is that transcend nomination and inscription, and it's important for the safeguard plan. I'm not now making the detail of the safeguard plan, but that is the most important, yeah? So now I will tell about the International Year of Rangeland and Pastoralism. Rangelands worldwide cover about half of the world's land, and pastoralists represent the 75% of countries of the world. So it's estimated about 500 million of people, and this production system matters for cultural, environmental, economic and food security purposes. But unfortunately, they all suffered, and you know it personally, lack of representation, lack of investment, lack of recognition. This is very, very important. And a recognition of land use rights and neglected public policies. So, 2008 was created a coalition, no? And Mongolia has asked for the declaration of an International Year of Rangeland and Pastoralists, and this was approved by the United Nations General Assembly of 2022 and was declared for 2026, that is this year. Yeah? Why an International Year of Rangeland and Pastoralists? It's to increase worldwide understanding of the importance of rangelands. I think in these days we have heard quite a lot of how much it's considered the importance for food security, for economy, for environment, for cultural heritage. So it helps fill, the idea is to help fill knowledge gaps. There are a lot of knowledge gaps about rangelands and pastoralists through participatory research and communication. And also to promote informed and science-based policy. So it's very important also what we heard yesterday afternoon. And to mobilize people worldwide to grasp new opportunity in rangeland and pastoralism. And you know very well the pastoralists meet, as has been said this morning, also has also a healthy quality, much superior, no more omega-3, and so on and so on. No? So what means a pastoralist? So pastoralists include nomadic and transhumant herders, agro-pastoralists, and every person who manages livestock or wildlife for animal products. Yeah. So what does IYRP seek to achieve? So we want to create awareness, no, about the importance, break myth, fill knowledge gaps, have effective communication, promote evidence-based policies and legislation, and have investment. So it was important to define what are rangelands and who are pastoralists. And this we are discussing since several years. So who is IYRP? We are now over 400 organizations. It's a little bit old, this diapositive. And we have 192 countries who have signed. So what is the structure? The structure, there is a general list, an international support group, a coordination group, and we are divided in 11 regions, and I'm the president for Europe, okay? And then we have created 11 working groups. Sorry, there is still a mistake. It's 11 working groups. The last has been created a couple of months ago, and it's animal fibers. So there is a working group on wool. And any of you who is speaking English and wants to join whatever of these groups that interest you, please, you are welcome. Yeah. So here you see the 11 regional support group. Europe is a little bit bigger, as you can see, than the Europe of. It includes also Turkey, yeah, Georgia and Azerbaijan. So one big gap that we have is that worldwide we don't know how many pastoralists exist. So we are making now a map, and you are all invited to participate. This is an interactive map. I will not enter in the web page now because we don't have the time, but I can explain it whenever you are interested. It shows groups of pastoralists. Yeah. So we have only to send a picture, a description, and bibliography. So any of your countries is invited to participate. Well, again, typing the 11 working groups. Sorry, it's still written 10. These groups have all made a concept note. And the gender working group has made a subgroup working on films. So if you have a part of the film that of Iboya, if you have good films on pastoralism made in your countries, you are welcome to say it, because for the events for this year, we want to show as many films as possible. So which are the activities that have been done up to now, and especially during this year, to show the importance of the International Year of Rangeland and Pastoralism? So for each month of the year, we have given a theme. I can send per email to all what you are interested. There are the 12 arguments on which make research gatherings, like this one, for example, films, photo exhibitions, side events, webinars, whatever, yeah, that you might be interested. So through the working groups, we try to have to create greater awareness on science and to the society, about how rangeland and pastoralists contribute to food, security, economy, environment. And there is a web page in which you have a lot of documents that you can download. Yeah. So we have made a big poster that you can download and print, and it's big, 1 meter per 80 or bigger, if you want to put it in schools or centers, in which the diversity of the rangelands in the whole world, you have some examples. Yeah. In Spain, we created an official launching of the IYRP. That is what I ask in your countries, if you don't have a group working on IYRP. To create a working group in order to do whatever you want in occasion of your festivities, of your animal fairs or agricultural fairs, to profit, to let know about the importance of the International Year of Rangeland and Pastoralists. So in last 2 years ago, 3 years ago now in October 2023, I signed a memorandum of cooperation between the Carpathian Convention, that you certainly all know, and IYRP. So you know that the Carpathian Convention has a very strong working group on pastoralism, and they are doing quite a lot. So here I have give some small ideas why the potential of grazing is often overlooked. No, many people think that grazing is deforestation, and often they link rainforest destruction for industrial beef production. You know very well that extensive grazing, that what you are all doing, is not affecting the rainforest, but the intensive, yes. They produce the soya that is then brought to Europe. So misuse of ecosystem and rainforests are not suitable for grazing. No, overgrazing is confused with grazing, and the overgrazing increase is due to larger herd sizes. You all know that before the First World War, some 100 years ago, with a couple of animals, a family could live. Nowadays, it's impossible. You need a much bigger herd, no? So we have land degradation, and recovery capacity is very, very important. So cattle are seen as climate killers, and there is an excellent film. I will show you later how to reach it. So very important is to be aware about fake news that are given. Abandoned pasture, here you can see it, abandoned pasture you don't see it because it's too much light. You see quite a lot of CHG emission, but very little fossil fuel. The extensive livestock emits also methane, but later I tell you which methane, but a little bit more of fossil fuel. But the intensive farming makes a lot of fossil fuel. So that is the big error. They say the methane that the grazing animal emits is reabsorbed in the carbon and methane cycle. So I will not give a lesson on that. There is an excellent film on this. And now, if here you have this film, I don't know how we are with time. This is a short video that's 5 minutes. I can give you the link. Yeah, you just put the title "When is grazing sustainable?" in YouTube, and you have it. It's 5 minutes and explains really all what I just said. Ilse Köhler, the German veterinarian that lives in India, I told you before, she made this wonderful table in which you see the difference between the pastoralist, is the herding knowledge, and how the veterinarian, as she's a veterinarian, she says how the veterinary sees the animal, no? So the herder sees the whole herd from a long-term and intergenerational perspective. That's what we have heard these days. But the veterinarian, from the intensive, he sees the individual animal. If his performance is not high, away. They don't look. So this, I think it takes time to show it. I just will not explain the whole. It takes too much time. But it's a really very, very important table. Then I want just to say the importance of a global integrative pastoralism project. We have to consider all the factors, not only the environmental, or only the economic, or only the social. We have to consider the 3 points together. Yeah. So women, equality between men and women. Because if we develop only one thing that may be money, that is the intensive, no, it collapses. Only if we develop the policies including the three aspects, the project will work well. So I have several suggested films, yeah? The role of ruminants of climate change mitigation, and when grazing is sustainable. These both are in English. And explain what I just said, the difference between methane, yeah? And then I have some books. You can look at this. I think this will be shared so you can have it. And then there is an article assessing the policy frame in pastoral areas in Europe. I think this is very, very important for changing the CAP, the common agriculture policy, and this is important to read. Yeah, so děkuji.
I have a basal question. Why transhumance? It's moving animals when it is transhuman. It is about man. Am I right or? Okay.
Transhumance comes from Latin transhumus. Humus is earth. So it's going from one earth to another place, from one place to another place. So it has nothing to do with human.
Ještě někde otázka? Tak. Já bych se ještě chtěla zeptat Francesky, jestli, nebo proč je vlastně ten rok, Mezinárodní rok pastevců, pastevkyň a pastvin tak důležitý?
Well, it has been promoted by Mongolia. Mongolia is a country, like many, where the nomads and the, where it's a nomad country, no? Traditionally. And many nomads have been sedentarized. And this has happened in Algeria and in many, many countries. I think also here in your country. The consequence, you don't see it immediately. You see it 50 years later. And almost one or two-thirds of the soil from Mongolia is now unusable. And therefore, they are really very, very upset. And they asked for defending again the importance of mobile pastoralism. And so depending on the geography that you have, on the kind of country that you have, mountain or plains or wet, not wet, mobile pastoralism is really very, very important. And at world level, still exists a lot of nomadism or transhumance, yeah? Especially in Africa. In Africa, it's very, very important. You cannot stay in a particular place because there is not enough food. We have seen it also here in some of your presentations. You cannot have the animals the whole time in the same place. You have to rotate, yeah? So in a rainy place like Central Europe, it's less necessary than in most African or hot countries. So also Asia, where the deserts and the Gobi Desert in Mongolia and so on. So I can tell for half an hour. Did I answer at least a little bit?
No, mě hodně zajímalo, jako jak vlastně může ten mezinárodní rok jako pomoct těm jednotlivým pastevcům. Jaký jsou ty konkrétní vlastně procesy nebo jako způsoby, jak může pomoct?
Let's say that whatever is organized, I think one of the important thing that I said before is raise awareness. Our politicians don't know that. I think you said that the Ministry of Agriculture doesn't care because they are not aware. When they went to school, therefore it's very, very important to create awareness to all kind of population of the importance of rangeland for self-security, for food security, food sovereignty of the countries. It's very, very important. So most people are not aware about the importance of rangelands. I could show some other diapositives. Let's talk about Europe. I can make, of course, also an example in North America. North America, you know, they have the big, big plains where were the buffaloes. When the white man arrived, tuck, 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 all the buffaloes have gone. And they have planted kilometers and kilometers and kilometers and kilometers of cereals. What is happening there? It's a place with a lot of wind. And when the cereal is taken, the wind is taking away all the soil. So these very fertile, because the buffalo were grazing there and transhuming there, so it's got lost. And once soil is lost, that's a big, big loss. Before to create again a soil, it's very difficult. So our ruminant animals, there are many studies in Spain, for instance, these 125,000 kilometers of droves are not walked all now. We have about 600 families who still make transhumance, yeah? So about 1 million of animals. But we would like that it comes back to 3 million of animals like it was some years ago. And it's demonstrated that the places that were abandoned, if ruminants again use them, of course, not the whole year, but as mobile, they recuperate. I can go deeper, but I think there are perhaps not so much time.